Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Welcome to the Crypto Lifer Show. Let this 10-minute countdown get you ready for the insane knowledge you're about to get. About to rip through these charts, show you so much. 20 years of technical analysis data coming at you right now. You should get so excited. You're going to learn something today. I love you. Let's go. Let's blast your ears off. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset, and that is your time. Welcome to the Crypto Lifer Show, baby. And I'm going to do the wrong thing right now. I'm going to do a bad thing. I'm going to do some caffeine. Yep, I'm doing drugs. I'm doing some caffeine right now. Oh my goodness. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. I probably said it again, but I'll say it 2 times. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get that music back up and running. 96,600 for BTC. And only time can tell. Are we going to pump back up to this $94,000 or $5,000 level? Are we going to sit in limbo? What's happening? Are the shorts going to win? Are the longs going to win? I just put out a short probability trade, right? I said, hey, this is a descending triangle. If you flip that upside down, that's the 21 above the 200, making a flag. It's exactly what we do bullish every single time. It's the model upside down. I put it out there at 948. Within 10 minutes, it was 90% of the exact target, which is pretty crazy. Shout out. So, I mean, unbelievable move, right? Blessings on blessings. So, another accurate call here on the channel. I did sit all night last night waiting for sideways price action to break out. It never did. I was looking for this flag to break out. You can see it there in the background. Looking for this to kind of go sideways and break out. We did not get that. We kind of went up here. Now we're kind of dragging down. We're still in some chop. We could bounce back. It could be a fatter triangle. We're going to take a look at all the probabilities and break it down for each and every one of you here on the live. So, another cool thing I wanted to do now is we're going to pick the trader, and we're going to play a game called Pick the Trader. And we're going to talk about, does a trader have $500? Does he have $1,000? Does he have $5,000? And we'll talk about it, and I'll make a trade based on who the trader is. And you guys can pick the trader. You get what I mean? I'll pick the amount that can be used in the trade, and we'll see what can happen. And you guys can pick the trader. Do you want to see a $5,000 trader? Do you want to see a $500 trader? Do you want to see a $1,000 trader? What trader do you want? How much money do they have in the portfolio? Anyway, we'll have some fun with that. I think it will be kind of an interesting concept to see what you could do with what amount. And you can see how I experiment with that on the lot. So look, 94,500 here. Key area, there's a bunch of red. We do like to go to the red. However, recently, Bookmap has been slightly inaccurate for whatever reason. It was spot on for a long time. Last few times we've had some deep red. We didn't always hit it. I'm not, you know what I mean? It's still more than 70, probably almost 78% accurate, but it's just been a little less targety. But again, at the same time, I'll say this and watch tonight, we'll just go boom. But it does tell you 94.5 is more likely. There's more liquidity right there. They've built up a lot of doubt. They've kind of, and there's people, once they get stuck in their ways, they get stuck in their ways. So there's people that are short and they're stuck. All right? That's the thing. So it is what it is. So this account was around 13.8. We took it to 18,300. I'm very excited to see how much farther I can take it. Let's go, baby. Let's go. So growing this account from 18.3, let's take it to 20K. That's the next target. Little bit at a time, I've noticed. Whenever I try to go for some huge, let's double it to 36,000. Every once in a while, a big trade comes around and I make 7, 8, 6, 7, 10 grand, but normally I just chip away little by little. Look at the position history. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is just the last 3 days, really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I stopped at the red there, right? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 trades. And we got 1, 2, 3 losses. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm 50%. But you can see the losses, right, are going to be 700 there, if you're round, or 740, you could say, right? And then 58, 250, that's 1,000. And that's another right there, that's about 700. It's about another, so that's 1,800 in losses, right? And then in wins, right here you have $2 grand. So that already covers that. And then right here you have a nice, $2 grand, right? Because that's 11. And that's about 8, 7. That's about 18. And then you have another grand there. You see? So you're up 2,000. Okay? And we're grinding. And it's not an easy road. It's to grow the account. Everyone tries to be a big shot. They want to show how great they look at it. It went right back up. It's like a false move Monday today. I have been not in the chart. You know, it's funny. I know when the charts are hot and when they're not. Today I put out that short. That was a good place to take some profit if you ask me. I like to take 70% of the measured move. I mean, at that point, if you're not moving your stop loss to break even or at least into profit somewhere here, to me, you don't understand. You know, what is FFS? I don't know what that means, but it's cool. I like you guys. You guys are cool. Everyone's cool with me. Remember, I'm an old man. I'm not cool with the new lingo. I don't know, like I learned this late. You know what I mean? I had to teach me this on the live one day. I was like, what is that? And I had no idea what was going on. So I've been in the charts too. I don't know a lot of pop culture because I've been in the charts. Things that people understand, I didn't even know. Like, I didn't know who Salt Bae was. You know what I mean? Everyone was doing this in the live. I didn't know who it was. How funny. This is going to be the funniest thing you've ever heard. I didn't know who Salt Bae was till the day I met him. He came to my table. He thought I was somebody, right? You know what I mean? I looked like somebody. Someone was waiting at the table for like an hour for me saying I was going to be there. He was like, what is that? I showed up. I came all suited up with the pink tie, the blue suit, the pink pocket square. It was over in Dubai, right? Crazy. Anyway, who cares? It's not about me. It's about you guys. I love you. How do you provide value for people? Every single day you wake up and you put your best foot forward. Number one. That's all. I've looked at charts for years on end. I'm putting my best foot forward today in the charts. I could be wrong. This morning, I nailed on a nice little short for you. If it played out, if you were smart enough to take advantage. That's a day's pay right there. I don't think people realize, but that's a day's pay right there. Anyway, for me, I know, and again, it will all start somewhere, okay? So looking for this to turn into a bit of an inverted head and shoulder, but let's do our top-down analysis. Nice little rip right back to the upside here. They really don't want to give up 92.5. 93,000 has been a magnet. A magnet to, from if you go above it, you come back. If you go below it, you come back. We've been kind of stuck at 93,000. Very, very interesting. Every time I think we're going to kind of implode, we don't. Every time I think we're going to pump, we don't. And we got real. Last night, I'm like, come on. Like, that was it. Like, I love that. I've seen this breakout so many times. It was so tight. And then it lost the 200. And again, I love the 200 moving average this morning. When the 1 minute lost it, that's a bearish sign for me. You see? And everyone's like, no, don't. The 1 minute's noise. But when the 1 minute lost the 200, that was the beginning of a short. Had you shorted immediately there, you would have been in the game the whole time. It's crazy. It's just like how it longs to the upside. Just like it shorts. It's just absolutely amazing. And then look, I look for my model. So like, I didn't chase anything. I didn't do anything. I actually did nothing. I've learned, this is why. I found my model. All right. My model is basically waiting for price to get above the 200, the 21 touching and hitting it, you know, and there's also some intuition and some vibe. Like, there's a way of doing it. You just kind of have to, you get with, I can't explain it, but you become part of the system. You become part of the model. It becomes part of your mindset. You understand it as if you breathe, as if you brush your teeth, like you just do it. So anyway, that's when it gets bled. You have to basically bleed it into the subconscious mind or stitch it. That's a great metaphor. Stitch it into the subconscious mind, right? You have to have it, and then you want to have it like somewhat attached to the way you think. That doesn't happen overnight. That's something that, you know, and again, we should actually put a name to that in trading because no one talks about it. Because you learn technical analysis. You learn, first of all, you have to learn nomenclature. Nomenclature is, you know, how you call, you know, what you call something, like, right? Categorize naming. And so nomenclature, right? You learn the nomenclature. Overbought, oversold. Support and resistance, you know, right? Adam and Eve, Fibonacci, right? It gets crazy, right? There's so much actually to know when you first just even get started, right? Then there's Elliott wave, right? It gets more, you know what I mean? Engulfing candles, dojis, right? Tweezer bottoms, tweezer tops, cup and handles, the diamond, right? It's like, wow. Like, and next thing you know, you're just like I've seen hundreds of diamonds in my life. I want to say thousands, but definitely hundreds and hundreds. I'd probably say over 1,000. I've seen so many diamonds, it's ridiculous. I've seen so many Adam and Eves. I've seen cup and handles. You've seen a lot as you started your journey, right? I mean, I'm sure, like, you know, what's it been for you? What's your favorite pattern? Put your favorite pattern in the comment. I want to know what your favorite pattern is. And actually, let me get the comment section up so I can actually see it. That would be a great idea for me. Shout out to all the beautiful people here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. We love you. We appreciate you. And we care about every single thing that you bring to the table here on the stream. Without you, we wouldn't have a stream. I dang well know that. And so I'm always constantly appreciative and telling myself, hey, never outgrow your community, never be out humbled. Remember that your community is number one. You guys are number one. I put you first and you put me first. When I put you guys first, you put me first. You show up at airports to pick me up. We had a meetup in Las Vegas. It was probably one of the greatest moments of my life, seeing all those people together. Unbelievable, right? So blessings on blessings for everyone that shares that venture, that power to want to go out and change your life, to do something every single day that's bigger than yourself, and to find your passion and what you stand for. If that's what you're all about, you're a crypto lifer, man. Crypto's just part of the journey. It's part of the energy. It was a way to change. There was a calling for crypto that you had that no one else had. Your sisters and brothers didn't understand. A lot of people, our parents didn't understand. Our friends and family didn't get it. We have good friends. We're still cool with them. How's that crypto stuff going, But we became so much closer to our crypto counterparties, right? Like, it just became so fast. So look, that needs to flag out. If it doesn't, I don't take the trade. It's a very simple way to trade. I actually don't like what's happening exactly for the bulls here for price action. Let's take a look at BTC on the bigger picture. I mean, right here, just so you can see what we're going to come to eventually, is like this could be the top of a range. We could come all the way back down here to 85K. You see? Might be a nasty little dump. What also I've noticed in my lifetime, though, is the 21 in the 200 can become very similar to Bollinger Bands. Does anyone here know the Bollinger Bands? We have anyone out here on the chat? Say yes, Bollinger, or say Bollinger. Or type in BB if you want. Make it easy and quick. But if you know the Bollinger Bands, put a thumbs up, a BB. Let me know. Put thumbs up, BB. Yeah, that's easy. Or BB. Let me know if you know the Bollinger Bands. Otherwise, put a BB question mark. If you don't know the Bollinger Bands, I want to see what people know here. I want to take a look. John Bollinger. Mr. Bollinger, what is your name? So a lot of people are very familiar with the Bollinger Bands. Look at this. It seems to be one of the more popular. Okay, this is interesting because I've asked other things like Adam and Eve, and people are like, huh? But a lot more people know the Bollinger Bands. Interesting. I don't see any question marks. It's okay. You could admit you don't know the Bollinger Band. There we go. There's a few. Right when I said that, isn't that funny? They came in. A lot of question marks. Let's just talk about the Bollinger Bands for a split second, all right? It's a fun little moment here in time. I'll explain you how the Bollinger Bands work. Whenever you learn how to use an indicator, okay? Here's a key tip. Use it on like a few different assets that you know. Like I know Tesla well, I know gold well, I know Bitcoin well. Like we watch the S&P, right? So if you gave me a new indicator and you're like, oh, it's hot, it does this and that, whatever. I'd put it on all those I'd put it on all that stuff, and I've learned what I know is basically the best that I can use. I don't think there's really anything better. I know it sounds pompous or rude, and even AI would just derive the same information that I'm getting from, just do it quicker. But I don't see how it could make all AI can do is trade when I'm asleep though, right? It can kind of continue the moment without me being there, and that's the key. So anyway, let me show you the Bollinger Bands. You would go up here, you would type in probably just BB, and there it goes, Bollinger Bands, right? Bollinger Bands are basically this blue and red with a white line, or blue and green with a green, red and green with a blue line in the middle. Whenever they get really close, it tells you there's going to be some type of explosive move, right? Also comes with low stochastics. You can see the MACD was about to turn. It's interesting. Here again and again, look, big pump to the upside. And it also tells you that a good place to sell is near the top of the range. So even here, the Bollinger Bands got close to the top of the range. It's kind of a sell, not really, but somewhat. And then you want to see it come back to the medium line, And then when it dumps, it will dump usually to the end of the green cloud, you see? So it just basically says, and again, that's very similar to when I sell, when we're low on the stochastics away from the 21, right? It's just kind of, it goes hand in hand. So the stochastics kind of work similar with that momentum. And again, I just, you can use, and again, when they're wide, it's usually more bearish. When they're pushed together, it can be more bullish. So, if we get a drop here, look, if you see some of the drop, actually, we'd have to get like tight again. It almost tells us that we need to consolidate a little bit here. So like what the Bollinger Bands are telling me is that like you kind of want to see Bitcoin do this. And it's got to pull. And then once these get real close, then we'll either dump or pump. Because, we really don't dump or pump until we get tight. You You see? When we're really wide, like that's the widest I've seen them in a long time. Last time we were that wide was like this. But we kind of dumped, widened out, and then we had a sideways, and then we got tight. See? So it just shows, even if we're going to dump, it just shows you a little sideways price action is likely. So it almost says like we might go sideways till Monday. Like it might just be a tough 3 days for Bitcoin. Just as it's been, you can see the second Wednesday ends, Wednesday afternoon, or Thursday morning, you can see the momentum just. That's why I don't trade hard. I trade Monday night. Look, we got our beautiful pump Monday night, woke up in gains. We got a beautiful, nice pump on Tuesday night, woke up in gains. Market shifted, but woke up in massive gains. And then last night, trade did go up. Let's be honest. We hit 94,000 at one point twice. I was in profits of like $2,000, 2-3 times. So the trades pumped last night. I just want to make it clear, even though we did eventually collapse. But if you stayed in the trade all night, I ended up being back at broke even on one trade. Just like broke even. I like that name, huh? That's kind of better. Broke even. I like that. I was back at broke even. No, but break even. Funny. How things come out. But that's how it felt, right? And honestly, you battle the charts all day sometimes. It still get nothing. It's okay. It can be frustrating, though. Trading is a very frustrating game. That's why it's good to work out. It's good to go for a walk. You got to always decompress. I find myself decompressing all the time. I'm either in the trade hard or, So that's the Bollinger Bands. I don't think we need to spend too much time on it. Okay. But I'm going to show you something interesting about the Bollinger Bands that I found to be true. So see how the 21 and the 4 hour are kind of like far apart. They're similar to Bollinger Bands. Like when they get tight, you see a move. When they get, they got to get close together again. So it's telling us we're going to get the 21 pulled up. It's interesting to me, but it looks to me, if I had to guess for my years of doing this, that we are going to kind of, looks like we may go nice and sideways here. And I'm feeling a more bullish move. Somewhere up to 103,600 for Bitcoin. There's just a nice gap up there. It's also really holding the support of resistance very well. Previous resistance becomes support. And right below that, it has another area of strong, a stronghold. So that, to me, it's a bit of a bubbled zone with really strong support. And Bitcoin's looking to use this resistance as a key retest. We got to see how the stochastics RSI, if this thing's going to reset, maybe set sideways there. But it's in free fall, like it wants to dump. We need to get the 21 to touch, and again, we could move it could be a downward spiral here that pumps still. And it could end up being ahead, or we could dump all the way back down like I showed you. Like it's sketchy for sure. I'm not like overly bullish here. Like I got to see the bulls. Now the bulls have to do something for us. They got to be strong here. This support of resistance here, this green bubble that I made, this has to hold for BTC. Anyway, I jumped the gun a little bit. Let's kind of move forward and we'll come back to this in a second. But I like what I'm seeing. I like the bunched up moving averages. They're getting tight again. But just always be mindful of a bear flag. And always be ready for what you don't, Like I love Bitcoin. I've been in it for a long time. I get for sure a little more euphoric when it pumps than when it dumps. I get happy when I made money on a short though. And I get excited really when I get it cheaper. So whenever I saw this down at 10, I was actually pretty happy. So I have to be, I can't tell you I'm not. I get excited when we get a massive dump because I know it's an opportunity. And I don't always get those opportunities to buy BTC at lower prices. So that I love that area, this deep area. It's amazing. It's a good spot for me. I know for you. But when the fear and greed index gets to here, man, I'm all in. I absolutely love it. So, still looking at Bookmap, just the peak, and 92,450. Bitcoin just really fighting that area of 92,000 to 92,500, just kind of hovering in there, right? So anytime I saw this down here, we got to 10 and 11. Did we not? That's the heaviest fear I've seen in years. If you put it at max, right, and I go down, that's right there is the 15. I think you can hover down to 10, but the lowest we've ever been, like right there, is it? Try to sit on it. I think it's a 4. But man, it's like the lowest I've ever seen it. Anyway, it was below a 10, as you can clearly see. So there's 10. So 10 or below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times in his life. And you're telling me that, like, this isn't a good time to put a long-term, for me personally, that's not a good time to buy. I mean, it has to be. I was, like my dad said, I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night, man. Like, let's get real here. That's 7 years. So let's do the math. Like if you brought a pre-calculus student in here, or someone who's like a statistical analyst, right? And you'd say, hey, look at this. And you'd say, listen, like, this happens 8 times in 8 years, right? And then there's like years where it doesn't happen at all. Like, it went from the July of 22 to it went up basically almost 2.5, 3 years without it ever happening. And you say that, well, and when the masses do something, it's usually not the best. Let's be honest. Just go back through history. When everyone knew something was hot, it wasn't hot. It was over. And is everyone and your mom buying Bitcoin when the fear was down here? No. Only people that are like really studied, really have done it before, and it's paid off for them. Like, I've done it here, I've done it here, I've done it here. Every time I saw it down here, I did it. So I did it again. You see what I'm saying? So I did it again. And that's just kind of how, you know what I mean? So I don't know what to tell. And again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do should be taken as financial advice. This is a reality TV show of my life. I go live every single day. I want to see how long the streak can go. Who here wants to see how long the streak can go for? How long can the guy go without taking a day off? Who isn't somewhat interested in it? Even I'm interested in it from afar. Like, I'm Sam Price, but I'm watching this guy, Crypto Lifer. I'm like, who is this guy that doesn't take a day off? Like, he's out of his mind, right? So anyway, we'll see what happens. But to me, buying down here was a must. And that's why I went in hard on Bitcoin and hard on Sol. I only bought 2 things that I'll hold for the next cycle. Because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm okay with it. And I have firepower to DCA back in, but it is what it is. So love is love. Let's see what happens. Anything is possible. All right. Let's start our top-down analysis. I'm a little backwards with it today, but I've had some fun. And the charts have been interesting. And even the small time frames are showing me signs of love here. So I kind of want to take a niblet. Like, I want to see what's happening. Like, look at that. It just defied a right shoulder. So it's awesome. It made a head and shoulder pattern. It got everybody to short. See this? Bots would short that. Your favorite bot's going to short that. And then, look, they're going to go and nail everybody. That's why just having a model and waiting for the model, too, is nice. Like, honestly, that tells me, hey, you should, my model will even say, that's a pretty good short. You're below the 200. That's a nice setup to fake everybody out, honestly. That's a nice fake out. That's some, like, Monday morning grime right there. Like, that's some extra saucy behavior. I like it because when there's heavy volatility, I know there's money to be made, right? So I'm like, all right. And I wasn't involved, right? You know? And Bitcoin's pumping, and it always makes me happy. So those I think 3 things together, right? But I don't like seeing people lose money, so I'm never happy to see other people lose. It's not cool. But but it has to happen. I can't be a shepherd to the entire market. The lifers, yes, but not the entire market. I'm not everybody's keeper. They're going to do what they're going to do. So look, now I map out a possible move here for Bitcoin. This is my model. It didn't work out the first time. I didn't get it. That's okay. It's like setting up shop or going fishing. Like, I start the first time, I threw my bait in. They bit my bait off. All right. I'll get some more bait. We'll start again. We'll get this going. We can do this too. So look, this is kind of how the trade would have to look. Something like this. I'd like to get up there to that 94. But yeah, 96.5. If you think we get to 93.5. So then I type the trade. Now this doesn't mean, again, like I said yesterday, I'm going to see a property, right? The realtor's taking me to the property. I'm looking at the property. Does that mean I'm buying the property, everybody? Does that mean I'm buying the property? No, right? We're just looking at the property. Why? Because we need to assess if it's worth buying. 100%, right? We're going to use the knowledge we have with our desire Again, that's a little different because there may be some, ooh, man, look at that. And again, when you cross the 200 moving average, man, the pump to the upside is vicious. And there was so many shorts up there that just got absolutely slaughtered. That is called a short squeeze, friends. And again, my system told me to wait, and I had to wait. But sometimes just jumping in above the 200 is good enough. I mean, it can be good enough. It's a higher risk version of my model that I will take sometimes on a Thursday morning. But man, I love seeing this thing back at 93.2. Let's go, baby. Let's go. And if you see it, it was technically, this too became a symmetrical triangle, which is a 50-50 shot. And I honestly haven't seen one break out in a long time. Nice to see one of those pop. Now, this is great. It doesn't mean you jump in immediately. That's not what happens. For me, this is the 1 minute. See, people, what happened right now, they're watching the 1 minute. They get so freaked out like they just missed a trade. But zoom out. This is like going to the football game and freaking out because you missed the first 2 minutes while you were waiting for a hot dog. You know what I mean? It's okay. Like, you're at the game. There's going to be so many plays, Like, yeah, maybe it was a big throw. It was a 30-yard play. It was awesome. It was your favorite tight end. You wish you had been there. And now you have to watch it on your phone. You were taking a pee. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? I'm making a joke here. But I'm being honest. Like, this is the beginning. If we get a real pump today, this is the beginning of the pump. And again, it's always there. It's always lurking. But you're going to hear that Sammy cup and handy to the upside. All the way to the upside there. Sammy cup and handy. Absolutely ripping. And that even has a bigger target. The target. That sends it all the way to $93,512. So, yes. You see, and then on what I learned about the inverted head and the inverted head and shoulder is that it almost always has what you would see as a possible, now I've never seen, it's very rare I've seen a head and shoulder inside of that they used to snipe everybody. That was a beautiful move. Whoever did that, whoever painted that picture was a magician. I mean, he sniped them. He made a nice head and shoulder. He lost the 200, and then he just sniped the shorts with a, wow. Yeah, sometimes, and again, you get trader instincts like Luke Skywalker. Like today just told me just to chill, just to wait this out and wait for like a better trade. Be like, your better trade will come your way. Just kind of wait it out. And that's what I've been doing with this, And again, as you can see, I haven't won every trade. But if I showed you like the 10 trades before that, I think it's a higher win rate. Like right now it looks like 50%, but I believe it's way higher because there's like a streak of like 7 down there. Like if I look at the last like 50 trades, I think it's even higher. I think I've won like 32 of them or something more. You know what I mean? It's more than 50%, but Sammy Cup and Handy, let's go. If you're lagging, it might be your Metro PCS over here. Hey. Shout out to all the beautiful people here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate you all for being here. Sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. My name's Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer. I started trading when I was 22, just buying and selling stuff on my phone and just, on some apps. I had no idea what I was actually on some apps. I don't even have a phone. Then the iPhone came out. You could start using some apps and stuff, and things changed. But man, things have gone by. Next thing you know, I was trading on my computer, and then I was trading gold and silver. I started trading gold. That's really how I started trading, was trading gold. I looked at the price of gold every single morning and every single night, constantly, every day. Like, I didn't know what Bitcoin was at the time. It was probably a few bucks. Maybe it wasn't, at the time, it wasn't even out yet, actually. And I'm sitting there learning how to trade gold. Then I start trading silver and gold in the Toronto Stock Exchange. I'm looking at like Great Panther Limited and all these weird little silver miners. Hecla Mining, if you guys know about mining. Hecla was a good one there. I traded AMD back in the day when it was like $4 a share. I remember, what is AMD now? When I traded AMD, it was $4 a share. It is now $200 a share. And people wouldn't believe me, right? But I was trading it, look, 2010 or something. Look at there, $2-3. I might even have some shares of AMD just sitting around, actually, when I think about it. Might actually freaks me out. I'm like, what if I have some AMD? Just like, even just like 4 shares, but I was trading AMD at $4 around here in 2009, 2010. This uptrend here, speculating on AMD. Look what happened to that. Man, that would have been better. That's like Bitcoin right there. Again, it took 10 years, right? 9 years, but it would have been 100x. I mean, right? Or 50x. $4 to $200, $265 even. I mean, dang. A 54x or 55x. Someone said, I used to work for Hecla. What did you do for Hecla? That's amazing. Hecla Mining. Look at Hecla Mining up huge. And look at the strategy. Look, the shoulder, inverted head and shoulder, right? The tightness on the monthly. Look at that. A monthly chart with an inverted head and shoulder just plays out. Astronomical move. And you can see rounded bottoms pay the bills. We accumulate when nobody cares, when things are in the dumps and they hit 1, 2, 3. You'll see they start hitting the... And you know what's crazy is I was the master at buying the bottom of altcoins. It really was. Like, it's sad. I never really got to show the potential of all the systems and the things that we use that usually happen. This was definitely a manipulated structure because, not here, but like throughout the last few years, because I've been doing this for years and things play out the same way from the stocks to the market. And this time altcoin just, it wasn't, something happened. Like, so anyway, like, because whenever I see an altcoin, what will happen is an altcoin will rip. It'll have a massive bull run if it has real utility, right, in the little dump, and then it will just kind of do this, and then and I always draw the circle, and it always hits like 1, 2, 3, 4. I find it's like 5 to 6 times you can buy the low. So like, heck, he came here, it came there, you know, that got closed there, and there's like a few times you can buy the low areas. You know, you can even call it an area there. But wow, Hecla booming because gold booming, right? And they got a lot of gold, so. That's awesome to see all the miners ripping. And you can see it kind of has an Adam and Eve vibe right there in a way. Looks like there could just be more for Hecla over time. And the monthly's pretty spent. And let me see why on my indicators. I must have deleted them all, but yeah. And look, I'm just showing you how you could use this, what I do on anything in the world, right? It doesn't matter what you're trading. So like, look at here, like that was a flag, right? Like, I mean, on my end, that would be bullish, right? I'd be like, oh, that's a bullish flag. And that has a measured move right there. And it actually could continue the leg up, but it looks like Hecla's headed to $20. And then you'd be like, okay, well, can we zoom in? How does the one, you know, I'm like, look, okay, possible head and shoulder there. I see that. And you know me, we would like flag that out. We know it could make the shoulder. If it does make the shoulder, it looks to me like it's just going to come bullishly retest that area and come back. Like it just needs to come back and test. But it could get tight and then keep pumping. You know, you always have to be ready for both scenarios. But, you know, there should be some initial TA that gives you what direction we're in. I mean, that's an uptrend. High, low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Higher low, uptrend. Like you're, you know, the trend's your friend. See, this is like what you're not trading Bitcoin. You're trading the trend. So you want to identify trend, and this is trend analysis. This is why we use what's called trend analysis to figure out what's happening. Okay. Someone said Amazon. It's funny. I'm looking at everything because the market's just interesting. You know, there's so much out there, and there's opportunity. You know, Amazon, look at it on the daily above the 200 moving average, but still struggling a little bit. I don't know how the quarterly earnings came out. Or if they, right, didn't it have, maybe it had strong quarterly. I'll look at Grok and just say, hey, when did they come out? So what, you can ask Grok anything and like give it and analyze, and then you can ask more questions. I spent 10 minutes with Grok and I'm like, I know everything I need to know about anything I need to know. I love it. I mean, that could lose the 200 and dump. It's tight. I'd like to see it on the bigger time frame because it's such a big stock. Weekly has some bear div. It's a little high, but it is getting, you know, I like the S&P right now. And they're going to turn on the money. When they turn on the money, man, people are going to flood into the stock. Yeah, I mean, I see a move to 350. A little bit of a weird move there, but over time, yeah, it's just lack of bearish momentum. I agree. That looks bullish to me. Yeah, it looks like a nice 50% gainer there. I should trade options, man. Like that's an options right there. That's a call right there for Amazon at 351 by June, right? So you could sell those calls. I kind of slightly get options now. I just need to do it like 4 or 5 times. But again, I have no idea how to do it. Sam, did you buy some Satoshi stable coins of Bitcoin? No, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm over that. Don't talk to me about that. I don't want to hear about it. No, I'm just joking around. No, shout out to Ashley. I have no idea what you're talking about. I only buy BTC, Ashley. Thank you. I love you, though. Feeling like $1 million today. Got 250 stops in my big brown truck. Let's go. Wow. That's amazing. Shout out to the Crypto Taco. You're going to bang those out, man. It's going to go by faster than you've ever thought. My man Jamal Antonio, UPS driver, been in the group for a long, long time. Whenever you talk, I'm like, is that Jamal? And I'm like, nope. So, yeah, we're just looking. Now let's get back to our top 10 analysis for BTC. I'm kind of hiding it here today, right? Dangling it. I'm going to just start fresh again just because it's the best thing to do. But the first, just to teach everyone, too, who's new. I do this every single day. I do it in the morning. I do it at night. I do it on the stream 3 times a day. But look at our monthly levels. If the monthly candle closes green, we could pump all the way back up to A, the next resistance, B, the resistance after that, and C, an all-time high. These are 3 possibilities that are now possible if this closes green. If it closes red, those are now not a possibility anymore. It's now, and unless we came out with another candle, it could out of nowhere flip and close green, but it would have to start at least like this. So the month is giving us hope right now that December could flip green. I also talked about Bitcoin, and you could see in its life cycle 3 months, a 2-month pump. 1 month, a 1-month pump. 3 months, a 2-month pump. 3 months, a 1-month pump. 2 months, 2 months, 1 month, 2 months. And what am I saying? I'm just showing you how many times we have a collection of red candles on the monthly. You can see our worst was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that was our bearish market ever when we had the first big, it was light. There was no liquidity. You see what I mean? It was very small market. It had nothing to back it up once it imploded. And so many, many months of pain there. That was the harshest time of my life. That was just, and everyone told me I was crazy here. See, this is Sam finds BTC. Sam tells everyone Sam's a genius, right? You should have listened to me. I wasn't rude about it, actually. Maybe sometimes I might have been. But not always, most of the time I was pretty humble. I was just like, I just try to tell you, and then no. And then all the people that saw me rise to fame came out of the woodwork around here. I told you you're crazy. My friends and family here said, I think you've lost it. I started putting more money in, and my girl, everyone that knew me said, this is not right. My wife at the time, this is not right. You can't do this. Now, this is 7 years ago. And I said, but you don't understand. They're going to print the dollar to zero. See, what happened was I had watched too many documentaries about the dollar, the history of money, and I was convinced now that the dollar was going to zero. Or not to zero, but at least going to continue to lose value. 97% of its purchasing power, the dollar has lost. You know what I mean? So whenever I think about that, I'm just like, okay. And then I was brainwashed. They had me thinking the dollar was the best thing ever since sliced bread. And one day I decided to question it. Next thing you know, I realized that they were going to print money to zero. And that's why I started buying gold and silver. I don't know if anyone knows my story, but I'm a silver stacker. I'm a gold guy. You know what I mean? I didn't get into Bitcoin for the tech. I got into Bitcoin to stop the inflation against my money. You see? I was just a guy who was trying to stop the fact that I knew I could accumulate money. But I knew every time I accumulated money, they could print it down to zero. So I knew once I worked really hard and accumulated money, I needed to put it in something better than the dollar because that wasn't going to work for me. And then again, you research the wealthy and you wonder why they own gold and watches and, classic cars and all these things because they're doing anything they can to get away from the dollar because they know that over time, if they just put it in something better, like you buy a 67 Chevelle or something. I'm not that good of a car guy, but I bet, 1957 Shelby or something, and you just keep it beautiful, stacked in some oxygen tank thing. I don't know, right? 10 years from now, it's probably going to be worth way more than the money, right, that you put into it. So people just, and when you have tons of money, you can't watch every penny all the time. That's why Jay Leno probably owns 100 cars. He likes them. Now we got addicted to it, but it also just, hey, it's like a bank. That place is a bank to him. Technically, right? He can borrow on those cars. He can do whatever he needs to do on those cars. Anyway, so the monthly levels are defined right now. If we hold this level, there's a good chance we go to 96.3. If we break above that, there's beautiful tones of 102.6. If we break above 102.6, it's 108. and 108 back to 115, and then the sky is the limit, right? So the first thing you want to do whenever you're looking at an asset anytime in your life is you want to zoom out to the biggest time frame that makes sense. Some time frames will have no information at all. Like you go to an alt, you'll go to the weekly or the daily, and it'll look like you have nothing there. That's not going to do nothing for you. You got to go to a time frame that has what I call grit. It's if like a tire has driven over time, a tire gets grit, right? It kind of gets worn in. You need it to be worn in. You need more time on that price action. Unless the price action will be flat, it won't have anything on it. Like if you go to Bitcoin on like the 10-year, it's going to be like nil, right? It doesn't have, or if the 4-year, it's going to look like, but if you go to the Dow on the 4-year, it's going to look a little more robust than that. It's been around a lot longer. Another strategy that people use, and then I've been taught my whole life. Not my whole life, but been taught, and I've used many times in my whole trading careers when I want to basically talk about the lifetime of my trading career, right? But this swing low to swing high here on the monthly and a swing low to swing down on the monthly. That's what's called a hidden bullish divergence. Now, if you pull a Fibonacci and you also get a 786 retracement, and then you're kind of sitting near a 618 golden, pocket Fibonacci, it tells me that there's something brewing here. And then if we go from this wick to this wick, you can see we kind of almost wicked right to the 618. So that checks out from this wick to that wick, which would be the range of this run. And you came back to bounce right there off of the 618. To me, it checks out pretty interesting for a bounce, right? And then if we were to use the smaller initial, which is, you can see we bounced down to that 786, even to the 886, 786, and now we're kind of right there. Right now we are in the golden pocket. So that tells you that's you're not buying the premium. The golden pocket is usually a pretty dang good place to take advantage of price action. Right now you are inside the golden pocket. So, just fibbing. If you're a fib trader and you did nothing else but fibs, no support or resistance, because some people, that's what they do. They're fib only. Once you get really into something, the better you are at is the more you just use it just that. Like some people just use their fibs, right? I like fibs to back up what I'm looking at. I'm kind of a master of I just like to twist it all together. But a fib trader is already in right now. Some of them already got in that 786. They're already in profit. They might have already even taken a nibble out right now. They might have put in a huge trade, taken a bit off the table, and then they're going to see if they can ride this puppy up with maybe 25%. See, the best traders, I believe, put massive amounts when they believe they're right. It only takes a big move to make a chunk of money. Then they take out the initial, right? 70 or 80%, let the less. And if that runs up there, that small amount will probably pay more than the bigger amount that already paid. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I'm saying you should be taking a financial advice. But this is just what I've observed people do. All right. And this is what I believe is some of the best way to trade, right? It just kind of keeps, it's proper risk management. Everyone wants it all. But when you're always kind of protecting the purse, over time, you'll be habitually good at protecting the purse. The market's always going to be there. People act like the market's not going to be there. Like, remember Bitcoin 10, the market's not going to be there. October 10th, we're all still here. And people are going to come back. They're going to have no place to go soon when this market turns into a hotbed. If this thing does start to rip and everything gets crazy again, what do you think people are going to do? And again, media makes money off of what? Frenzy. So media needs, right, tomorrow. Right now, this is the TV, right? So this is like whatever show, whatever news station, whatever's out there. There's X, right? There's just, News Max. There's just all this stuff out there. And for the next 2 weeks, right, they got to fill it. How are they going to fill it? They need titles. They need stories. And if this thing starts to go, what's going to happen? Those are going to become the filled stories. Bitcoin, back, da, 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 da. And the masses read the stories and the masses follow the news and bum, 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 bum. And then, and they're going to be coming in here and getting into the top, and then we're going to get their correction. They're all going to get wrecked. You know what I mean? So this is what happens. Where the attention flows, the money goes. This is why once you have a plan and you're part of your own plan, not part of someone else's plan, you're on your way. So the first thing we want to talk about is the monthly. The monthly stays above these two candle bodies right here, just like this. That's a monthly support. All right. So if we can close the candle, let's say above 90K now, where does that 90,200? Let's see where it actually is. And there's an exact number because you can see where this candle opened, which is 90,360. I love that, right? 90,360. Even? Is it even? Oh, in a penny. The high was 94,150 even. I love these even numbers. on Binance Spot. I find it so interesting. Like, how do they get it to even? Like, how does Bitcoin close at 0.0, like 94,150? Or how is that the exact high? Like, how does it just touch an even? It just makes no sense, right? You have millions of dollars, millions of people around the world, billions of liquidity, and it touches 94,150 even? Anyone else find that interesting? Am I the only one that finds that interesting? Is it just me? All right. I come here for the TA, but I stay for the scribbles on screen. I mean, the scribbles are immense, are like just a work of art, right? I mean, those scribbles are just... When I get scribbling, you never know what's going to happen. And the more coffee I drink, the more I scribble. I don't know if we're going to make it through the stream. I need more coffee. I'm going to crash. Okay, let's take a look at what's happening on the smaller time frame for BTC. I might be missing a nice little hot number right now. Okay, so let's take a look. We have now filled out a bit of a flag. Doesn't look hot, though. Today, honestly, the volume is really low. Not a good day. Let's take a look at Forex Factor. I remember there was information coming in on Thursday that we had to look out for. Unemployment claims came in lower than expected, which also says, okay, now they don't have to cut the rate. Let's see if the rate cut changed. See, you want to start this kind of game. The Fed watched it. Remember, was it 89% yesterday? If this comes in lower, you would think it would go back to 87, cause a little bearishness for the day. Just a little funny little just a little something to move the markets. Let's take a look at if I'm right. So I haven't looked at it yet today. It should be, 87 now? I'd love it if it's at 91. I'd like it to increase. But if this is lower than expected, right? Less people unemployed. Oh, market's better than we thought. Why should we have to cut the rate? You know what I mean? We're not going to have to play that game when they change the Fed share. You get what I mean? It's just going to be a rate cut. No matter what. We're going to be on point. It's going to be a Fed lovely cut, a Trump favored cut most of the time. You never know. But that's kind of and again, people are going to front run that. So when it happens, it might be a nothing burger by the time all the money comes in. So that's why we might get an early pump too. Think about it. All the cronies know what's going to happen. They're going to start loading up early. Barron Trump, all his boys. You know what I mean? No, but seriously, if you think about it, and then, wait till a robot knows how to flip a burger. Watch it. I know, right? I read Florida only gives 12 weeks. I don't know what that means. Made dough 2 days ago. Last night, stop loss hit. It's all good. Still waiting on my refund from last week. What does that mean? Sam, drinking that Brazilian bowl. I love you, man. Drinking coffee in my city. It is 5 p.m. God bless you, brother. Love it. John Maverick speaks on even numbers in markets, something about algos, yeah. Sam, I followed your method for ages now. I studied charts for 4 years, but these past few months, it goes the other direction. When it's confirmed, it's too late. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Any advice? Just over trading the low volume days. The market's not as healthy as it was when you learned a lot. You got to pull back and just really, like I said, Monday nights, Tuesday night for me, you know what I mean? Do what you want, but I just lighter days. Until market gets better. Yeah. Just over trading in low volume, man. In my humble opinion. Yeah. Once you see it's not working, pull back. All right. So let's take a look. We should be at like 89. But I wouldn't be surprised if it pulled back due to that. Yeah, 87. See, we were at 89. So it did that little pullback because the data came in and, and then it kind of it spooks the markets just enough to create that, Let's move now into Bitcoin on the 2-week chart. A beautiful, tweezer bottom there. We had it, we lost it, we gained it back. 2-week chart looking healthy with a 3-day and 8 hours from now, it's going to close. I'd love a bullish engulfing. I'll take the beginning of something. I'll take a tweezer like this. That was a tweezer bottom. It wasn't perfect. It got us going back to the upside. Same thing here. Again, we could easily end up just making a right shoulder. I've said this over and over again for months. I've said this when we were here. Right? I've drew it here. So I've said this probably since around this area here. I started saying, hey, we could end up making I am the king of future projections, right? That's all I do is project into the future constantly. And then we use those projections to fine tune entry on a trade. Wow, look at that. I mean, the 4-day looks bullish in a way. I'd like to see it close with a little more strength to the upside on that. And that closes in 2 days and 8 hours. 3-day above the 200 moving average. I told you if we can stay above it, we're going to likely come up, and the point of control is going to be your target. And look at the gap in the VRVP. You have a nice space here. I mean, there's a big move coming for Bitcoin. Like, that is a short squeeze waiting to happen. And it's going to go to 104, 105. And the bot, right, which is being tested right now, beyond belief. I know it's there somewhere. Don't hide from me. There she are. There she is. Elga, the bot. But no, the bot recently down there at 90,342. It's in the money on that buy. It has 2 more safety orders if needed, but it's been holding well. And so we want to see this kind of consolidation and come up to this area. This is when the bot will get out at 103, 102,762. The bot will be able to sell in profit at 102,762. And it'll be a beautiful trade. It will had taken time. The bot has entered this trade here on October 29th on Wednesday. So the trade will take over a month, but that's what the bot does. No emotions, it just gets through. All right. So, but we're going to show you the bullish and the bearish scenarios for the day too as well. We're not done yet with the program here. NASDAQ not doing too well today, going to hurt us. Yeah, thank you, Sam, for helping me pay my bills. Hey, you have to do it. You're doing it. I'm just helping you look at the charts a different way. God bless you for being awesome, though, and using my knowledge to gain. I love when I hear someone's actually making it happen. That's like good for you. I have some funny Christmas Bitcoin shorts coming soon on my channel. Show some love. Thank you. God bless you, brother. I'm going to share it with you. Shout out to Vegas Claw, man. I got pants on. Nice kind of lighter, cocky pants to match the linen suit jacket. This is kind of hanging. It shouldn't be hanging as much. There we go. You're a blessing, Sam. I got the bot, and it's amazing. Could you check out Master Misty? Thank you so much for saying that. God bless you. And if you want access to the bot, I do have access to that bot. We do offer it to the public if you want to jump on in. But you could just find out. Book a call. Take this link. Book a call. Ask them, hey, what's going on with this bot Sam uses? It, and again, when it gets out of this massive trade, that's when people are going to fiend for it. They're going to be like, damn. Because it did all the heavy lifting when it was just almost most people would crumble. So for me, whenever I'm above the 200 moving average on a big time frame, I am bullish. So I kept saying, as long as this stays above the yellow line, I'm bullish. If we go below it again, I turn into a bear again. And we likely head back to the 21. So I'm just looking for the 3-day to touch that 21-day moving average. Whenever you have a massive pump, we come back to the 21. And again, we might flag out and pump huge. So which would be a dump to the downside. What I mean is, just be ready for this to be a bear flag. Just a kind of a dead cat pump, right? You never know. It may not be what I'd love it to take us to the promised land and pump all the way to 102. That looks more likely to me. But again, that's just more likely means nothing, right? Anything can happen in trading. I want you to understand that. I could hit every trade I put out for 10 weeks straight. And then one day I'm going to make a call. It's not going to go right. And everyone's going to be like, whoa, what happened, right? And it's like, I'm not saying I'm right for 10 weeks straight. I think I've been right for weeks at a time, but you're going to have time when you're wrong. The key is to use probability and not beat yourself up. You're not supposed to be right every time. You're just supposed to be using probability and be right most of the time. If you can do that and use proper risk management, good chance you could stay in the game longer than the rest of the herd. And that's the key. All right. So if the daily closes like this today, that's bearish. That's a bearish candle close. That's it. You don't want to fight that. You don't want to use a bunch of emotions on that. That's bearish, right? That's what's called a tweezer top, and it's a bearish tweezer top. So you'd like to see this close green today. Otherwise, that's, and again, it doesn't mean it could be a sideways flag on the daily that propels us further. But, I'm just showing you that this is possibly a bear flag and there's a chance you come all the way back down to 86,000. I mean, you're pretty high in the stochastics RSI. Just throwing it out there. Like I'm giving myself what I don't want to hear. You have to understand. Right now, I'm talking to myself. I'm telling myself what I don't want to hear. I want to be a bull. I want to pump all the way. I want to rip through this gap. We are above the point of control. So let's go over the bullish and the bear scenario. The bear scenario is if this closes red today, that's not going to be a good sign. Like, I'm not in love with that at all. The bullish sign is you are above a high volume node sticking out. There's a gap here and another gap. And, you know, I could see us basically traverse these mountaintops here and get all the way back to 112,000. Like, that looks bullish to me. The VRVP looks like a really good reversal is coming. In my humble, like a massive short squeeze. We have a fast move down, which always gives us a fast move up. Not always, but, you know, 90% of the time. And it looks like getting back to 102 is going to be shortcakes. A little bit of a fight back to 111. Of course, it doesn't, you know, there's going to be some chop there. Some resistance there, some resistance there, some resistance there. You can see 3 levels in the daily. But a fast move back to this node there at like 101, 102 looks likely. So, you know, short term right now, let's just start a poll here. Short term, like, you know, not crazy. Short term, are you bullish or bearish? Let's just see. And I mean, I might have already been more, got people to be a little more biased. Short term, are you bullish or bearish on BTC? Right? Is the questiones. 20 votes already coming in strong. 80% are bullish, 27%, 73, 69, flipping quick, 73 votes. The votes are coming in fast and furiously. They're clicking on the mouse. Clicking, clicking, clicking. Clickety, click, clackety. Clackety, clickety, clackety. Let's take a look here at the 8-hour time frame. 10 hour. Oh, we got stuck for a second. Look at, that's a bearish top right there on the 8-hour, right? You can just see it's kind of, you know, again, maybe we're making it inverted. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. You see? The key is not to be right. The key is to take in as much information in the subconscious mind. It'll start to organize it. Some people can't handle this. It might be too much. But let me handle it for you, and over time, it'll make sense. All right? Kind of like, you know, this is the weird struggle today. It's been a very, you know, that went to dump, came back up, getting more oversold. So the key to me is the moving averages and the support and resistance here. So look, the 2-hour holds a pretty good key to this for whatever reason. So look, this is that daily top, you know, that daily kind of channel that we're in. So I just keep that there because it is, you know, and you see for whatever reason, we have a resistance 93.8, you know, between 93.8 and 94,000. You can say this is what we're seeing now on like the 2-hour time frame. And if you look at the 4-hour too, it's like you need a bounce here, and this needs to basically flag out. If this can bounce and you can flag out, this is going to be the most bullish sign. Like if you end up doing this 16 hours from now, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd even say that looks like it could take 32 hours. And how would you know? Well, you could just hold shift down and go sideways with this tool. And look, that says a day and 16 hours. Right? The lowest is like 20 hours, right? And so yeah, 20, 25 hours. Maybe even long, 32, kind of like I said, a day and 8. So to me, man, that would be so beautiful. Now, it could also, the crazy thing is, it could make a shoulder, a head, a right shoulder, and dump on you. That could be a Bart Simpson. You know, you never know what's going to happen. The key is, if the 21 can catch price and we can be tight, I know there's a higher probability I can win. I don't know I'm going to win, but I know there's a higher probability of me winning. So that's why I'm kind of sticking to this, you know, what I'm watching today. And look at the 1 hour is just like a mess right now. It's hard to read. It doesn't have a lot, you know, it's lacking structure. They're playing around with price action a lot, too much. Like that last dump and pump was very crazy. So for me, the 2 hour makes more sense. Again, sometimes other time frames make more sense. Look at the 2 hours at a double bottom. Previous support is resistance. And then that brings us back to that 4 hour where I was talking about this area here just being really strong support and resistance there and there. So it's holding really nicely above 92,003. But that doesn't mean it's going to, you know. So Thursday after 2 o'clock, I'm done like going hard trading. We made today, what was it? Tuesday was a huge, Tuesday was huge. And the reversal after that Monday, Sunday dump into Monday, and then the Tuesday reversal, the Monday night, and it just, the whole thing was amazing. So cashed in enough that to just kind of like, chill for the week. And that's what I talk about too. I talk about how trading is feast or famine sometimes. There might be a big day out of the month where you clean up like more than you made most of the weeks. And then now, what I like to do is like focus on a goal like the end of the month, and like it's about like getting there. Specifically with the Lev account, So look at this at the 30-minute. Like I just want to see consolidation here. That's all. We break this level, and again, we might make a right shoulder and dump. Looks like there's going to be some type of little pump back to the upside, somewhere back, again, somewhere to 93.5, 93.6. And then you want to go to the 15-minute and look at the 200 moving average. We lost it, we got it back. As long as you can stay above this 200, you're going to pump back to the top of the channel. Again, there's not a lot of range here. What I mean by that, you can see, and look, it almost has an Adam and Eve. I know I'm bringing up a lot, but doesn't look amazing. I even saw this morning, how it looked kind of like a head and shoulder. To me, it definitely reacted as such. It was a descending triangle. I called it out. We got the dump. Those things break down like 90% of the time. So what's my last call for Bitcoin? I gave you guys a lot. We went over a lot of information, right? What's the point of all this information if we can't be actionable? Some days it's jumbled. Like the edge says, eh. Other days it's like, let's go. If I had to make any call on it, I'd say, you're looking for this to possibly flag out here. Like that, or you make that into a channel. I don't love Thursdays. Usually the channel, price action is going to be sloppier. It's going to be slower moving. You're going to get crazy spikes out of nowhere with a short squeeze with low volume. What I will tell you is if you're bullish, you got to get back above the 5-minute 200 moving average, but that's kind of in the middle of chop. So I just expect chop today. I expect chop. I would stay out of the market. I would keep my longs open on the 3-day because the 3 days above the 200 moving average. So to me, it's about just holding massive longs on the bigger time frames while the small time frames figure themselves out. People are going to get too emotional on these small time frames, and I think they're going to miss out on the big money. But that's my opinion. I could be completely wrong. That's me. You do you. I believe the focus should be on the 3-day chart right now and that 200 moving average. And basically, I got in pretty dang early. I know people might, if you didn't, now it's a little tight. I like to get in as close to the 200 as I can. They gave us when that wicked back above us, they gave us those prices all between 89 and 91 were amazing. So again, we'll see what happens. I'm not trying to tell you I know what's going to happen for sure, but I do like the odds above. Like the last time we got above that 3-day right here, we got, we were above it here, we played, we got below, but the second time we got above, that was just a massive rally. I'm not saying we're going to get a rally that big, but even if we get a rally like this or like that, it's going to be a massive payday for me. And the risk is amazing because if we don't get it, I don't have to lose too much to find out if I can gain a lot. That's why I like trading near the 200 moving. I just kept watching where to trade. And I looked at all the assets in the world over and over again. And I said, if I'm scalping on the 1 hour near the 200, I was like, if I'm scalping on the 4 hour, and I said, the more money you have, the bigger the time frame you need. Like if you have a $10,000 account and you're trying to make a few grand, you can use the 1 hour, the 4 hour. You could be in a trade for, a certain, a smaller amount of time. What you have like $1 million, you want to put 100 grand down on the 3-day in August, and you want to sell it in March or April for 200 to 300. You know what I mean? You want a 2 to 3x 100 racks. You want to make $250,000 or more. Like you know what I mean? That's just what happens. Like your bank account gets bigger, you have to make more to see it change a lot. Like if you made 20 grand 10 times in your life, 5 times in your life. Okay. But what if you made 20 grand over like 500 times in your life, 1,000 times in your life? Okay. Then you make 20 grand. You're like, okay, I gotta, you'd be looking to make 40 grand, 50 grand instead, in a day. Like say you made 20 grand in a day on a trade. Say you did it 1,000 times. You're like, okay, it's time to move on. Like, let me go to the 40 to 50 grand. And I'm not saying you start, and again, you can lose more too when you risk more. That's why I like the humble approach, the long-term DCA. And then playing with leverage when it's, when it's fun. When you have the edge, learning an edge and only using leverage when you have the edge. So look at that, setting up for a nice possible move here now. And I'm always looking for the scalp. Don't get me wrong. I love a live trade on this channel. If it can happen, I'm all about it. But I'm not going to do it when the probabilities are low for me. Because I like to look smart. I like to let the math help me. If the math tells me the probabilities are high, then I'll take the trade. You can almost say that was the flag and you're breaking out of that flag. I love me a 93K. Every time we're back above 93K, it's like the healthy zone. Every time we start toying with 92, 91.8, it's the sick zone. It's like we're very close to up and down here. So we got the initial move, but Bitcoin's looking somewhat interesting. I'm expecting the bounce back to the top of the channel on what time frame there? Yeah, like there you go. You're kind of getting here. I like the 2-hour time frame, and I'm expecting a move like this. Now that is a double bottom. There's a chance the 2-hour just absolutely takes off. I believe there's going to be a massive short squeeze. I just don't know if we're going to consolidate first or we're going to get it. That's, and again, I shouldn't say what I believe because it doesn't matter. But my trader instinct and the charts are just conveying to me, as well as Bookmap, right? Because every time I look at liquidity, I get this glaring red up there at 95 now. That's just the closest area. Jammin' 94.5. Anyone ever listen to Jammin' 94.5 in Boston? Right, 94.5, Jammin' 94.5, if you remember that. If you know, I think it's still a radio station. I don't know. I haven't listened to it in a long time, but I used to listen to it. Baltazar, Jammin' 90, wasn't he on, or he might have been on Kiss 108. I don't remember. Someone said the 2-hour hidden bullish divergence. I kind of see what you're saying. Yeah, like it swings up there, but it swings down on the RSI and it's low on the stochastics. And it also has lack of bullish divergence on the MACD. Look like it wants to turn. I think I'm with you on that idea. Yeah, so to me, the 2-hour is the one. And it's got the cup. You see the cup and the handle there, which is funny. But I mean, I'm just, Sammy, cup and handy to the upside, right? There is that cup and handle. Bang. So I think we have it. I think we spent an hour on Bitcoin. And we identified what we need to identify. Like, I feel like everybody here knows what they need to know about BTC. They know about the levels on the monthly, the levels on the weekly. They know what to watch. They're poised and ready for the rest of the day. And if Bitcoin does something, like if Bitcoin loses the 15-minute and takes a dump, no one in my group should be like, oh my gosh. Like if we get below, if you close a candle right here below 91.8 and you dump to 88,000, you should be like, oh, well, we know that when you lose to 200, it's bearish. We know that you lost the support and that's But if you bounce here and get tight, then you got to just keep believing, or not even believing, but taking into the probability that this is going to eventually break out. So as long as this 15-minute can hold the 200, and as long as we can go sideways, we're kind of in the same position we were yesterday, just like looking for the pump eventually. And maybe it's a right shoulder and they take us down. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going to happen. I'll be ready. I'll have a stop loss. If that happens, I'll have a stop loss and I'll wait. The thing is, if they do even take that down, the 3-day chart's still going to be above the 200 moving average, which is to me the biggest key of it all. So they can do whatever they want, really, 15-minute, 4-hour, not everything. I want certain things. I want that 4-hour to hang above that key level, right? So again, what are the takeaways? I just want to give you guys the big takeaways today on what we just did, because there was a lot, and I think there's some things you want to look at. The hidden bullish on the weekly and the monthly, but the weekly even too. Right, hidden bullish on the weekly. That comes with a Fibonacci retracement down near the 786, and you're sitting in the golden pocket with a low stochastic. I mean, that thing, I've seen us break out of that on many, many, many assets in the world. Never seen it on the monthly before because I've never been with an asset that had this much traction on, I've been trading Bitcoin this whole time. I've been watching this, and I've been live every single day since 2019, right? So I started going live almost every day. The channel started here in September of 2019 when Bitcoin was like, I don't know, 3,000, 6,000. I think Bitcoin was 5,000 or 6,000 when I started my channel. Not crazy, right? And I'm telling people it's going to 100K. Like, little did I know that my channel would blow up with the price of Bitcoin. I had conviction in Bitcoin, you see, very early. And then I learned, how do people become billionaires and, multimillionaires? I said, well, they had conviction in things early. Steel, gold, oil, whatever it was. But they started in an industry when most people just were like, just getting to understand it. And they saw that it could be big. And they started investing in it very early when, the pricing wasn't too high. Another thing you want to take away is that we're above the 3-day 200 moving average, and that's Sammy's that's like a Bible for, I shouldn't say that, but that's a very strong trading rule for me to stay bullish when everyone else is probably going to be in very bullish tones. And then last but not least, the support of resistance here above this point of control, as you can see, and as I called it, the bubbled zone. And why I call that, because it has like a lot of support of resistance inside of an area. Look at the 4-hour flipping bullish. I like that. That's a nice sign. And what I want to see is I want to see a 4-hour flag. I want to see a beautiful 4-hour flag today. I want to see price action pull up. I want to see it. Now, it's going to, for me, one of two things. That 2-hour does that double bottom and we rip to no end. And it doesn't wait for no man. And we probably hit a resistance here. We pump a little bit, but at that point, that is that's going to be a sell at 96.8. For me personally, that's why it's going to be hard for me to hold the big one. But we're looking for this tightness here. Okay. And the 21 to come up. But this is bullish. So this, to me, is just such a strong level. And you can see it's got a high volume node and what's called a POC. The red line is the point of control on the VRVP. How to add it, go here to VRVP. Click on it. It's going to come on. It's just going to be pink, and it's going to look like this. Go to your settings on the VRVP. Click on the little gear box there. And at 24, just hit a 0. And watch it transform to mine. It's going to be different colors. Okay, but if you want my colors, I'll show you my settings. You just change it to that blue and that like orangey yellow. And then that blue. The second down, 4 in. And then that's all the way down, 3 in, 1 up. This is recorded, so you can go back and have fun with that. Pause it, play it, redo all that. If you want, I like the colors. I like my colors better than what they have out there. I'd much rather see the blue and the yellow. But I've been looking at it for so long, so it makes more sense to me. That's not going to be my thing there. So anyway, you're adding a 0 to make the rows more aligned because they're going to be too blocky. Okay. And so anything is possible. I know we could hit the 5-hour 200 MA and dump. I know the 4-hour can make a flag. So to me, I'm just long on the 3-day, and I'm letting the smaller time frames play it out right now. And I don't, and I can scalp if I see something worthwhile. So that's kind of where I stand. I gave you everything and I gave you the takeaways that I think you should kind of pay attention to, the big takeaways from everything we did. That makes sense. Okay. 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 Mr. Garris. So, look, that's starting to play out as the model. Now I can look at this again. Stop would be below the 200. And this is how I'm chipping away, make it and doing what I'm doing with the portfolio, just little by little. 94,772. Stop loss would be below at 92,505. And again, behind the scenes of all this, I'm watching the charts all the time. Like I've been watching this chart since 7 in the morning. It's 11:30, so I've been subconsciously taking in the data all day long. I'm not just all of a sudden trading here. You might just. I've been watching price action all day now. My mind's had a lot of time to take in what the probabilities are at this point. So now when I get into the trade, it's not just me getting into the trade for the moment. It's really a bunch of moments put together. And that's the key too about trading is your mind just will have the data. Now that I've given the years to the charts that I have, I don't regret a second of it. Someone would say, with AI coming out and all these new ways, you regret the 10 years you spent in the past when things weren't as innovative and everyone's just going to outtrade you with bots. And I said, no, because I understand everything. Anyone ever tell you you're cute, Sammy? I don't know. I'm a bit embarrassed. I hope that's a girl. And if it is, I don't even hope it's a girl, because then people say, but you have a wife. And it's but I'd rather it be a girl than a man. You know what I mean? The picture looks like a man. I don't know what to say. I'm going to say thank you. I don't know what to. I don't know what to do. I'm turning red. I'm turning red. I don't know what to say. I'm a bit, I'm taken aback right now. I have to call my wife in. No, seriously. So we're watching this. Oh my gosh, I can't do it anymore. I can't do this anymore. So no, look, I want to see us make this flag. You know, I'm very weary about trading on Thursday. I don't want to ruin a clean portfolio. I don't want to ruin a clean P&L that I've worked hard to put together now. That's another thing. Once you have a nice P&L, like it's like you ruin it by being crazy. One wrong trade throws it all off. And you don't want to do that. You know, that's not going to get you there. So I want to take it easy, one step at a time, and just, you know. And this is how I got there. You know, the other day I heard someone say, you know, I got to dial it back. I overtraded. It was too much. I realized it was over. You know, my trades were too big. I was getting too crazy. And I've sensed that sometimes, but the good thing about what I did is I started very small. I did $100 for $300 on every single trade for literally like years on end. Like 2 years, I would almost never trade more than $100 for $300 because I just didn't understand exactly my model yet. I hadn't had myself. I didn't have it dialed in. You have to be extremely dialed in if you're going to be using any type of extra assistance, as I should say. You know what I mean? Because it's just, it brings in that risk at such a high level, and you don't have time to react if you haven't done it enough. You just do not have the time to react. So you want to work through that system. Like I listened to Jim Rohn this morning. So many things that kind of clicked in my mind, right? So many things. And he talked about like where to position our minds, how to position our thoughts. One thing he said was, you know, how you go about what you do. Like some people work really hard, but they end up in the same place. Like hard work is great, but without direction, it's just hard work. You know, that's the one. I guess his sermon yesterday was about like, we need to actually have a plan. Where are you going? Write it down, have a plan. Like people say, I want to learn how to trade. Okay. I would like to learn how to trade. I would like to become profitable in my 3rd year. And, you know, I'd like to make, you know, let's just say in 4 years from now, I'd like to make $500,000. You know, I write down the money that I'd like to make. I, you know, put it under my pillow, believe in it. You know, it's funny. I listened to a money affirmation video. It was about 4 years ago, I remember. And it told me to write down the amount of money I wanted to make at the end of that year. And I think I had only made so much. And it was like, you know, I wrote down, I don't want to say exactly how much because I think, you know, but I wrote down a number. Let's just say it was 200 grand. And at the end of that year, I made, I think like 195. I didn't make the exact number, but I was off by like a very small amount. And it was you know, I'd never made that much in my life. And I was like, wow, like this works. It was weird because like I remember doing it and then I played this video every day for 5 days. It told me to play this video every day for 5 days. Money is going to come to me. I believe money is my friend. Because I always had that affirmation, you know what I mean? I was born, my dad would say, look at that trust fund baby. You know, my dad would say that, like a car would drive by or one of his buddies would leave the house and he'd be like, that guy's a trust fund baby, you know? You know, basically my dad left his house at 15. So anyone that didn't like work from the day one was babe, you know what I mean? And him, because he made all his money from himself, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's funny how my dad was, but he was so self-made from a very young age, left his house at 15, 16 years old. By the time I was 18, I had my own car, my own apartment, you know. This is how my dad talked, you know. So anyone who got money from their daddy, you know, to him was a trust fund baby, you know. Anyway, what he did is though he instilled this, like, I heard him it's almost like he had disdain for anyone who grew up with money. You know, as he grew up, and he was, you know, that was when I met him, my dad had me when he was 36, right? So, but by the time I'm 14, my dad was 50 years old. But then he grew, he read a lot. He used to read like a couple books a week, man. Throughout his by 48, 50 years old, he started reading. And from 50 to 70 years old, man, that man must have read. That's all he did was sit on the couch and read the last 20 years that I knew him. Like, he just read and read and read. And someone says my dad is a deadbeat. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. But so my dad read and read and read, and he did change his tune a lot, but he always, and you know what he would tell me about was like a guy in the 1700s that was born poor, but like, you know, understood art and started reading art well, became an art dealer and like moved his way up into the aristocracy. And next thing you know, he became like, you know, the king's main art guy. And like, because of his art knowledge, like he bounced up through society and he got to meet all the biggest people, and he got to make some of the biggest travels and become like, an asset to the king, and like, stuff like this, that, basically guys that maneuvered their way up through society in some way, shape, or form by having a skill or an attention to detail. And my dad always pointed these things out. And my dad always loved the story of the guy who made millions and lost it all 3 times, but still made it up. This guy lost $1 million 3 times. He's still a billionaire. Look at him. He don't stop. He never stop. Quit alcohol. Guy rocks and rolls. My dad drank, but always talked about people that never drank. He always thought, oh, this guy, there's my buddy there. He hasn't had a drink in 10 years, And so that's another reason why I did quit drinking too. I went over to my dad's buddy's house one day, and he was an old Irish guy. And I was like, oh, all my dad's buddies drink, And I was talking to him. His name was Crazy G. That's his name. Literally on his license plate, it said Crazy G. No lie. He was known as Crazy G. I'll tell you a story, but I can't on YouTube about Crazy G that someone else told me back in the day. But anyway, my dad was good friends with him. It was probably like 8 years ago. Maybe not even less than that. My dad died 2 years ago, and this was probably just like 3.5 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. And we happened to be in Boston together in my hometown. It just, by coincidence, how it worked. Well, I was living there, and my dad came home. And he brought me over. He's like, oh, let me take you somewhere. And he went over a couple side streets, just like 5 minutes from my house. And he brought me to Crazy G's house. And Crazy G was this old, bald dude my dad knew. And Crazy G must have been like 69, I think 71 at the time, 72. And we started talking, and he was like, I hadn't had a drink in 40 years. And I looked at him like, he's like, it was killing my gut. He's like, I would drink and get these like pains, He's like, eventually I went to the doctor, and they were saying like, if I didn't quit drinking, I was going to have like ulcers. And he's like, my body just couldn't handle it. He's like, I had holes, He's like, I had to stop. Like, he's like, so I gave it up. He's like, I gave it up at like 25, 26 years old. He's like, I haven't had a drink since. And I was like, man, it must have been 50 years, But I was like, I looked at this guy like, damn, like not everybody drinks. Like, because I assume he's an Irish guy from Boston. He grew up with my dad. Of course, they're going to have a whiskey together. They're going to drink. My dad is going to have a Guinness. And, and he was my dad's buddy. And he was like, nah, stone face. I don't drink, And he kind of looked at me like, you don't need to drink. Like, he kind of said it in a way like, not everyone has to have a drink, bro. Like, because I said to him, I was like, I'm thinking of quitting, man. I really think it's my time. He's like, dude, give it up. He's like, you'll be fine. Every time I talk to someone about it, like there'll be an angel that came out of nowhere in my life that would be like, yeah, you're on the right path. Like, can that crap. You know what I mean? Excuse my language, but they'd be like, can that sauce. Get rid of that stuff. And I'd be like, wow, that's amazing. Another time, 2 days before my dad passed, I had already quit. I think I had about 8 months. No, about 1.5 years now. But I was at a bar with Crypto Billy in Houston, and things were getting a little seedy. It was 12:30. We were just having literally tonic water or soda water and lemon. And he looked at me, I looked at him, and you could tell everyone there was going to get drunker and drunker. They started like swearing on the microphone, like, we're going to have an effing party tonight. And I was just like, when you're not drinking and someone's swearing on the mic, it seems really weird. But when you're drunk, yeah, and everyone was like, yeah. And I could just see like a bunch of people inebriated, just like going with whatever the alcohol was going to take them. And Crypto Billy looked at me, I looked at him, and he was like, this ain't a place for us, man. And I was like, and actually, I played some pool with his buddy, and we all, we had a little time together in the hotel when it was like quieter, and I went to bed. And, it's like people come up when you do the right thing, you're going to find the right people. That's the story today. When you do the right thing, you're going to find the right people. Okay? Whether in trading, if you hang around the right people, you're going to find people that use stop losses, that have proper risk management, that don't go willy-nilly and go long on every single thing and get liquidated every 5 seconds, right? That's why joining a trading group with a proper mentor and leader is important. Someone that actually has risk management. More people will have more risk management in a group where the leader has risk management. Doesn't make fun of stop losses and make a joke about it, because it's not funny when people lose money. Look, I didn't get into this trade because it didn't. If that had bounced and made a nice flag, I'm all in. But it didn't. It made basically almost like an M pattern here. You can see resistance at 93,138. And again, every time Bitcoin gives you what it wants, it takes it away today. It's a very interesting day of trading. It's been doing this since last night. 4 hour looking more bearish now too. All of us, you know what I mean? It's just like, and again, this thing could dump all the way to this thing could dump, hit this line, and then dump again. We could be at 87.5. Remember, don't forget this idea here. Don't forget this idea that we could be in this estranged kind of pattern here. And we hit the top of the range and we may be coming all the way back down. Yes, I have my bubbled zone. Yes, there's some key areas here. And yes, we could definitely bounce. And that's what we're looking for. And again, even if we do bounce, that to me looks like it's going to take about 20 to 32 hours to find out really. So either we dump in the next 6 to 8 hours, like we just start dumping, or I'd say we in the next 12 hours we dump, or we go sideways for like about 20 to 30. Those are the scenarios on the 4-hour time frame, in my humble opinion. I lean more bullish on the bigger time frames, but you know. Yeah, Jeremy asked, Sam, can you come to Houston? Sam, you came to Houston. When are you coming back? Yeah, I don't know. Alcohol drugs mask themselves as social behavior. They are not. If you think you're better than others because they are dealing with it and you are setting yourself up. Humility. Amen. Yeah, 100%. Never think because you don't do. That's the thing, though. When you learn, if you go to any like self-help or drug help, first thing they'll tell you is when you get sober, now you think you're better than everyone else that does. And that's just like, you've now lost the key. You know, the key is to get closer to God. If you get closer to God, you know everybody is a creation of God, and everyone is going to struggle their own way. Like I may quit alcohol at 42. Some people did it at 25. Some people do it at 65. Some people do it at 80. Some people do it at 70. Everyone does it at their time. You know, and everyone's on their own timeline. Don't force anyone to learn what you've learned because they're not on your timeline. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's why it's not good to compare. Comparison is the key to take away your content, because if you compare yourself, your trades to everyone else's trades. You know, why you're not making as much as some big trader? How come you didn't make $5,000 yesterday? It's like, well, put in the work. You know, I didn't start making a couple grand a day off my trades until I basically did a trade every single day for a few thousand days. And then it all started coming together. I didn't expect anything for years. I just expected to perfect the skill until the skill began to pay. One day the skill pays. You don't know when it pays, but it does. But if you just learn to perfect the skill, the money follows. If you sit and worry about money the whole time, the money never seems to follow. It's the law of detachment. It's like the things you stress the most for, you'll never get. The things you barely think about can fall into your lap. But you got to follow, again, I listened to something today where the guy said he's super successful because he just followed his heart. He believed in God and he went where he had to go. And that's, he stopped trying to, he said everything he tried to force, everything he tried to push, everything he tried to make happen, a lot of that fell through for him. But when he just kind of went with the flow, listened to his heart, and believed that God would take care of the rest, like his life turned into something he could never believe. Because believing and having faith will do something you've never thought possible. It'll actually give you the ability to have a frequency that attracts success. When you have faith, you know it's going to happen, so then you go hard. When you know everyone's going to watch your video, you make it. When you know everyone's going to watch your live stream, you go live. When you know what I mean? When you know you're going to affect a lot of people, you go and affect a lot of people. Like it's a good feeling to know. So so when you believe that good things are going to happen, it makes you want to work for good things. It's a cycle, you see? And again, there's going to be hard days. Look at me. Today, I'm thinking about 4 years from today. 4 years from today. Where will Sam Price be? Well, if I continue to show up every day, nicely dressed, ready to go. I had a great night's sleep last night, right? I put my best foot forward in TA. Maybe I didn't win the biggest pot of the world, but we did good this week so far. I'm up on my week on my portfolio. I just have to maintain and not do anything stupid today. As long as I don't go hard at the wrong time, I'm going to be okay. You see what I mean? Like, I don't have to stress. This is looking more like a descending triangle. I got to start saying, right? It's giving me some vibes of bearishness here. So we definitely need to bounce sooner than later. Otherwise, that's not. It's looking, you got to get a bounce. And we got it, and then we didn't get it. 1 minute did not hold the 200. You're back below the 200 again. In chop. Look, and it's a double top kind of. 5 minutes still double topped at the 200. Couldn't get above. That's a bearish sign as well. So yeah, that looks just a little, looks like you could be, could be making the downward flag down on the 4 hours. So we're in chop today. And there's not enough volume to really give you confirm. And it's low enough that this thing could dump to the 21 or even into the green area here and just chop into 91.5. As I said before, I would stay away from any time frame but the 3-day and just kind of chill right now. Sad, I know. I want to get crazy and show you, but that's Thursdays, especially after craziness. And if people are now wondering what's up with the Fed now. Remember, the Fed slightly shifted. Let's take a look at the S&P futures for a split second and see how that's doing. 15-minute now back below the 200 moving average. Like hope. So no hope below, back to hope above, no hope. You know what I mean? Just chop, chop, chop. Facts for me. I said we're just getting started, bro. Shout out to Cashmore Crypto. Yeah. So where will I be in 4 years from now if I show up every day and keep pushing? I'm probably going to be in a great position in life, right? So today may not make or break me. Today may not be my best day on live. Today may not be my biggest trade. Today may not be the most viewers we've ever had, right? I might not get as many likes as I got yesterday, or maybe I get more. You know, I don't know, and I'm not trying to stress that, but I'm making a point. The key is, did I show up and do my best? If I show up and do my best every single day, I put my faith in God every single day, somehow, some way, I have no idea, everybody, but I know with a fact, because it's been happening to me for the last few years on point, that I'm going to end up in a great place. My kids are going to be in a good place. My wife's going to be in a good place. My family and friends and everyone around me is going to be in a good spot. I firmly believe that with all my faith and all my soul. I know that God has me because, I lost my mom and dad and I made it through what I thought would break me forever. And when it didn't break me forever and it only made me stronger, I got more faith in God. I thought I was so alone when I couldn't call my mom and dad about, yesterday I drove with my wife. I looked up to the sky and I said, I miss you, Mom. I miss you, Dad. I wish you guys were here to see all this and to be here and to come to Florida. And, it was 84 degrees yesterday, driving around with the top down at on a beautiful sunny day. Today is 77 right now. It's going to turn into a beach day. It's going to be a beautiful day here on the Gulf, right? You could tan today. You could get some sun. It's going to be 83 degrees, 61 at night. I mean, you could have the wind. It's so beautiful. This is the weather people dream of. 80 degrees and 65 at night. I mean, what else do you want? Like, look at this weather. Look at that weather. Monday night will be a little chilly, 54, 71, but that'll be nice for us. We don't get chilly weather that much. It's kind of fun. So the point is, you do it every single day. So again, someone might be here, right? And again, what's the value in this today? The value in the stream is Bitcoin is sideways in and chop right now. As you can see, it's going up and down. If you pay too much attention to the smaller time frames, you're likely to lose a lot of money today. A lot of people lost money here and there just now. Why is Sam all of a sudden not trading? If Sam usually trades small time frame, Sam's in. How come Sam's not in right now? What's Sam doing? Sam knows when not to trade. The other day, we started this uptrend at 10 a.m. This was beautiful. We were in the money. I was trading. This was awesome. Today might get the move. We might get the move later on today, and I might call it. And that's why you got to be in the group. Because not every time during the stream is the action going to be there. But the action might come. And when it comes, I'm going to be there. I'm going to take advantage of the action. I'm going to be sitting, ready and waiting. So the idea is we don't overtrade on days when the price action isn't amazing. But we show up every single day no matter what. Because if we don't, we will miss out on great opportunity. You have to understand. And that's really the point of today, is that not every day is going to be your day. Specifically in trading and anything in life. But you got to keep showing up. Let's talk about it. This show's been on for 1,860 some odd days now. I go to the stream settings, hit edit, and it'll show me how many. 1,843. Is that? I feel like we've lost. Anyway, 1,843. So, that means my team has showed up tirelessly every day. My wife has showed up tirelessly every day. Everyone that's part of this journey has showed up every day. In some way, shape, or form, whether it's an hour here or there, whatever it is around the world remote, but everyone has showed up and put their piece in to make this show amazing, right? And it's a consistent process. And I get you, everyone on my team did not feel great every single day. Everyone on my team sometimes woke up sick, woke up not, And what Jim Rohn said to me that really hit me hard was, people wait for motivation, but motivation never comes. You got to take action. You take action and then you get motivated. That's what you don't get motivated and then take action. Sometimes you do, but the motivation will fade. If you went on motivation, it will fade and it will not be enough to keep you going. So you got to take action, keep going, and then motivation follows action. It's amazing. See? So you got to start somewhere to have something. If you don't know how to trade and you haven't traded, you got to start demo trading, because if you don't demo trade, you're going to have nothing to go on. Watch this. This is amazing, right? Check this out. Here's a boat. A boat represents your trading journey. Okay? Sorry, let me draw a better boat than that. Picture a boat. You're watching a boat from a helicopter. So you're just watching the top of the boat as it's going through the water, right? Now, this boat has basically has no destination, and therefore it can go anywhere it wants, and it's probably going to zigzag all over the place, right? 100%. Also, what if it has no track at all? How can we, so my whole point is this. Or this is an even better story. The boat doesn't move, it stays anchored. How can we direct its course? How can we correct its course if it's never going to move? We can't. But what if we let it go and it starts to make mistakes and it goes here and there? We can eventually get it back on track, right, if this is the target. So my point is, this is demo trading. Once you start demo trading, you're going to go way off course. But at least we have something to correct you now. If you don't move at all, we can't correct you. A car that stays parked can't be corrected. A car that starts moving at least in the wrong direction can turn around. And we can start moving it in the right direction. So you got to start somewhere. And another thing Jim Rohn talked about is people are... he said 90% of people never start a business, never go after what they love, never change their life, right? Because they get stuck in what they're doing. And they get stuck in fear. They don't want to start trading because they're afraid that they're going to lose money. Everyone's going to lose money some way. So people say, I can't trade, I'm going to lose money. And so they stay in fear, right? It makes, so they never learn how to trade. They never learn the 221 trick. They never learn when you're overbought and oversold. Yeah, so look, ETH did the move that you want Bitcoin to do. It pumped up to the 200 moving average. That's what you expect. ETH did a double bottom too. Look at it. Bitcoin was a little more... it did the higher low. It's funny, ETH is ahead of Bitcoin right now. For whatever reason, ETH made the move before Bitcoin. So again, same story for Ethereum. It actually looks interesting. The one time I might trade ETH. Remember the one trade I made on ETH? Remember when I had beautiful... When ETH made my system right there. The 4-hour touched the 21. We traded it. We made massive gains. Right there, the same thing. I touched the 21 and a flag. Massive gains. Another one there when it started to get tight. There was, but once it started to get into the chop, once it lost the 200 on the 4-hour, once it made lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, it starts a downtrend. It could start to make the uptrend when it battles the 4-hour 200 moving average. There it made a big move. There it made a big move. Could this be the big move? So what you do is, what's crazy is you have the patience to wait for the best places, and then you attack the best places. The sad thing is the best places sometimes are once every 4 to 5 months. And so you have to, what I did is I've seen this now for a few years, and I know there's been a year when I missed it for the whole year, and I said, man, and then I know I have to wait 6 months to try it again. I was like, damn, let's go over here. I saw the 4-hour cross the 200. I knew my system here. I knew and I was like, why didn't I and boom, Again, I long Bitcoin and all that at these places. So I took advantage of this, but I'm just kind of going over, if let's say I did. And you got this low for, and then the next time it got here, you're like, I'm going to take it, and you don't. And you're like, man, now I got to wait again. And now here it is coming again. So that's why, that's why I almost force myself to trade the 200. Because on bigger time frames, because I know it's few and far between, right? It's going to take some time. And B, I know that it has the highest probability of a massive win rate, but it also doesn't come enough. So this is why it almost takes years to perfect big trades, because big trades, the best time to get into them are kind of maybe, even here on the 4-hour, maybe 4 or 5 times a year, on the daily, less and less, and on the weekly bear, So you're looking for this to either go sideways and pump or come down to the 618 and pump and retest the key level. The retest would be okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And it does look more bullish with a higher, that's a higher low right there, digging in for Ethereum. Another people look at Ethereum BTC today, and it was trending on X.com, which got it, but you can see it got above the 200 moving average on the 4-hour time frame. Nicely. So that tells you there's a little more interest in Ethereum over Bitcoin at the moment. Which could spark a little bit of alt season, or at least even people that talk about alt season. But look at that. I like that. That means if what is a Bitcoin pair? A Bitcoin pair is when you put Bitcoin in It's ETH Bitcoin. So basically, say I had one BTC in my portfolio, and today I put it into Ethereum, and Ethereum pumped, and I sold it there. I would make 7%. So I'd make a 0.7 on the Bitcoin, right? I'd make, or 7% of, of the BTC, right? Yeah. 500 million a year in sales. I get 1% down to the math. How? Listen to motivational mindset strategies that Sam Price teaches. More than trading. Interesting. Amazing. Shout out to Crypto Billy, just dominating. I pray for your happiness and abundance of life to be fulfilled by the love of God. Thank you, Ashley. Someone praying for you, Ashley. They love you. It's amazing. Yeah, ETH could fall fast back down to the 200 MA. It could, but it also might just go sideways. Yeah, you could open a short there and see if you get the pump. What I like about the short there, you're likely to either just have nothing happen to you or win. Like you could just be in the short for 16 hours and almost close it a break even. So it's kind of like, to me, it's a low risk short. I could be wrong, it zooms out of the window, but to me, it's a low risk short. I mean, this is ETH BTC though. But to me, I like this. This tells me there's potential here. I'd like the side. If we got the sideways price action, it's amazing. Wow, Bitcoin breaking down yet again, back below 92.5. And see, that's, now it looks like an Adam and Eve that's going to just, every time it looks good, it does it. Every time it looks like it's going to dump, it somehow reverses. I'm more bearish on this idea. I just got to remain a little more bearish on the day because, right? Like, I mean, I'm not longing for a reason. We're below the 1 minute 200 moving average yet again. Even the 2 hours starting to look pretty, like a double top there. So I got to call a double top. I mean, that's likely to dump. I'm telling you right now, the probabilities are now likely to go to 90,000. Dang. BTC breaking down. I mean, that's an Adam and Eve double top right there. Look at it. Let's not lie to ourselves. Let's be honest. And the 4 hour, we dang well know could move down to the 200 moving, to the 21 in a sharp manner. We want to see if it can hold this level here. We might get a wick and a bounce. We've been here already just earlier this morning, so it's like, I wouldn't short or long. I would just stay away from the market personally, but that's me. People are going to do whatever they want. We have a screen share tonight. Remember that, from about 8 to 9 o'clock tonight. A weekly screen share. I'll go over my portfolio, talk about what I'm doing, talk about what I'm sitting in, if I'm sitting in Tether, kind of just show you my game plan, and hang out together, go over some ideas, see if there's any altcoins worth paying attention to. Unlikely right now. I'm in a kind of anti-risk phase right now where I don't believe in going heavy risk. When the risk comes back, I'll be in heavy risk again. But I know now after years of trading when not to be in heavy risk. And to me, yeah. Sam, I saw you and your wife on X. Wow, what a beautiful couple. You are right. Your life is sexy. Good on you. I may have 3 or 4 kids now. She looks still perfect. 10. Congrats. Thank you, man. My wife is amazing. She's going to love to hear that. I'll tell her that you said she's the perfect 10. Thank you. And I'm not offended by you. That was a very nice way to compliment me and my wife. Thank you very much. Very nice, man. Look how hard the IRS is on the 4 hour. It does look, but that could also resolve itself by coming slowly down. But I agree with you. It's a good observation. And again, don't be surprised if we end up down at 88 or all the way back down here at 86.9. Like, this is nothing is guaranteed in this market. One step, one plan, one moment at a time. We need to reset the stochastics on the 4 hour time frame. We had a beautiful pump. It started on Monday and we pumped all the way into Wednesday night. Like, come on. Let's not get too greedy. Let's take our profits. Let's wait for a better time and let's nail it. So, no stress. We take our shots. If we lose, we lose. We have to see, that's why I love risk management. You say, hey, I'm going 1,000 for 5,000. If I lose $1,000, it is what it is. You wake up the next morning. If you lose, if you win, you feel a little better, right? It's a good feeling. If you lose, you'll feel a little crappy. But it is what it is. You gotta polish yourself off. And if you focus on the loss all day, how are you gonna win again? You can't do that. You got to focus on the wins. You got to focus, and again, you can't fall through the losses over and over again. You got to ask yourself, okay, But if you took a plan and a system and you traded probability with proper risk, you just move on. That loss is just what's supposed to happen. That's just part of everyday business. All right. The more you trade, after 5 years of doing that, you'll realize, like, after 5 years of trading, like real trading, you'll be like, yeah, makes perfect sense. But when you don't put in the work, this stuff all sounds like fantasy. It sounds like I'm just blowing smoke because you're like, yeah, sure. I used to listen to people talk about trading when I didn't have a real, I didn't really grind it out. And I didn't understand what the day trading really teaches you. I had made money actually swing trading and investing. So to me, I was like, I didn't need to this day trading nonsense. Yeah. But man, there's money to be out here every single day in the market. So if I'm going to have the time to be home, have the time to look at the charts, I'm going to take advantage of them. That's how I look at it. And I've been in them so long. Why not reap the benefits of being in these charts? Aerodrone's still inside that cup and handle it's been in for so long. Like, it's so funny, man, how it just drags on forever, but still hugs a higher low above 50 cents. And back to the high. I mean, one day, it's funny, we got to the high twice now. It's crazy. Yes, beautiful family, thank you. I am a reflection of my leadership. Sammy is golden. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're very nice to say that. I love you, man. Yeah, the chop is whack. 92,450, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. That's why I told you stay away from. I'd stay on only the 3-day, and be very easy on myself today, and don't overtrade. Yeah, responsible day traders have obliterated the long-term holders. Yes and no. I don't know if that's completely true, because if you bought a lot long-term, you'd be in big money. Like 15, 20K, you're still up like 5.5x. But a bit, yes. But I think it is true as for like the layman or the average trader, yes. Sammy, can you please create a long short button so we win no matter the direction of the chart goes? Yeah, sure. Arrow is on Robinhood. Thank you for saying that, just so retail knows. You can buy Arrow on Robinhood. Robinhood, right? Wow, everyone. I don't know how it gets to 12:01 every day. I don't know how we do it. I seriously don't. 10-minute countdown, an hour and 50 minutes of love. And it's a labor of love that I absolutely love to do every single day. Amazing. And it's funny, this market starts to rip up again. We go back to 100K, they're all going to be paying attention. This channel is going to have 2,000 people. They're going to be freaking out. What happened? How come? People are going to join the group that left the group, and they're going to say, But that's okay. That's okay. I used to be very emotional, very fickle with my money because they played with my brain, and my subconscious mind was hijacked. And I worked a night shift. I didn't have a lot. I lived in a one-bedroom apartment. I was in a city surrounded by sirens and people I didn't know, and I was on edge a lot, which I wasn't even realizing. And once I moved away out of a city and I got to like private, quiet with woods near me, and I went on walks every couple of days, and I breathed in fresh air, and I started to kind of like get away from billboards and city lights and like people drunkenly screaming down the street at 2 a.m. Things started to change for me. Who would have thought? So, I needed a break from all that. And thank God I got it. And everyone, thank you so much for giving me a break and giving me a place to be every single day. A place to meditate on thoughts, a place to talk, a place to give my heart and soul to the world. If I didn't have this channel, I really don't know what I would do. Thank you so much for everything. Like, it's way more than money. It's way more than trading. You people listen to me every single day. I really appreciate it. I hope I gave you enough value today that helped you get through your day. I hope I gave you some good philosophy, some good positive attitude, and you learned something about the charts. I hope every single day I do the right thing with my influence, and I positively guide others to be good and to be blessed. I love you, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Bitcoin's looking kind of sloppy. It's got to get back above that 1 minute 200 moving average again. It's starting to look like a descending triangle here. See this? I would say more downside, friends. Yeah, so right now I'm going to tell you that the odds are you're going to go down somewhere to about 91.8. Look for that descending triangle to dump you down to 91.8. You can see it even looks like a bigger descending triangle. You can extend that line like this whole way. That looks pretty bearish to me. That looks like it's going to dump. So I could be wrong. Maybe it swings up out of nowhere, and if it crosses the 200, you'll catch me in a... It's funny, I'll say that, and then you'll catch me in a long in 10 minutes. Like, I'm all in on the long. Be like, what? He was bearish. But that's because I'm able to read the charts and pivot. But right now, I see a move down to 91.8. I want to leave you with my last call here. I see Bitcoin moving down. All right? I see Bitcoin moving down. Everyone, thank you so much for jumping on in. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. That is your minutes. I love you. I thank you so much for constantly supporting the channel and being a part of my family. I'll see you all tomorrow with an amazing live stream, and then we're back to the weekend again. I feel like I just finished the weekend. And we do the 4 live streams, and we battle. Tonight is a full moon. Bitcoin usually pumps in a full moon, but I wouldn't bet on it, but it should, so we'll see what happens. Right now, it looks like we're about to get a dump, though, to the downside for BTC. Everyone, I love you all. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Stay blessed. Stay amazing. Remember, the secret to success. You know what it is. What is the secret to success? I got the secret to success. It's amazing. The secret to success. Everyone wants to be successful, right? So everyone wants the secret, don't they? So this is what the entire world wants. Check it out. I got it right here. It's getting started.